Alright, y'all, buckle up, grab your popcorn, maybe even a shot of tequila because Catherine McBroom just dropped more tea than an overworked British butler in a soap opera. Yes, we are back in the Ace family land, a place where YouTube dreams go to die and family vlogs are just cryptic episodes of Days of Our Lives. So, I'm sure everyone knows who Catherine is, the one who smiled through all of Austen's, let's say, antics, has decided it's time to reclaim her narrative, and she's doing it in the most iconic way possible by releasing a book. Scratch that, two books, because apparently the trauma came with volumes. The book is called Dolores, The Journey Home, which confused everyone at the time until we found out Dolores is actually her government name, like full on witness protection vibes. The name Catherine was given beauty influencer. Doris, that's a woman who has seen some things. Anyway, Catherine announced this literally moments on Mother's Day, which is either a genius marketing move or an passive aggressive hallmark card to Austen. And the girl came ready with formats to ebooks, paperback, audiobooks, and she narrated it herself. So yes, you're going to get every tear, every sigh, every heavy breathing. I was pregnant and he cheated. Monologue directly from Dolores's mouth. This isn't just a book, it's a redemption arc. Now, here's where things go full reality TV. The first 3 chapters were allegedly released online as a preview. I say allegedly because you never know with the internet. But baby, the screenshots were screenshotting Catherine named Austen like not even coded language. Not my husband or he who must not be faithful. Nope. She said Austen like she was rolling credits on their marriage. And what did she write? Catherine basically confirmed what the internet has been screaming for years. Austen cheated. Not once, not maybe. No, she found proof. And what's wild is that it happened during one of their charity events. Those who love giving back moments that really just double as Instagram PR stunts. Apparently, while Catherine was backstage wondering if she should walk out with her man, Austen was already parading around with a side chick he personally invited. Let me just say this. If your man shrugs when asked to walk out with him in front of 20,000 people, that's not your man. That's a red flag wrapped in Yeezy merch. Catherine literally said that she was pregnant at their first big event, so she sat it out. But at the second event, she was ready, hair laid, nails done, skin glowing, and what did she get? A cold, indifferent shrug from Austen. Homeboy said, only if you want to, which is a man code for I already have someone else here and she's waiting in VIP. And it gets worse. Apparently, this wasn't just emotional distance. Nope, a family member told Catherine that Austen had invited another woman to the event. And you know what? Catherine remembers her. The girl was apparently just lurking in the shadows like a poorly placed extra in a Lifetime movie. Catherine even described her like she was narrating a true crime documentary, a hanger-on standing close enough to feel out of place, yet comfortable enough to belong. I mean, poetic. Dolores said bars. And then it all clicked. The shrug, the avoidance, the weird locker room moment. Suddenly she realized she wasn't crazy. She was right. Austen wasn't just distant, he was dripping and not into holy water. What's even sadder, Catherine was pregnant again with a third child, and she carried everything alone. The weight of betrayal, the heartbreak, the urge to call her mom, but not wanting to say a word out loud. He cheated on me. It's given Oprah's Super Soul Sunday, but make it YouTube drama. Now let's talk about the alleged other woman internet is going on about. As usual, the internet went full FBI mode. They thought it was somebody named Bonica Bush, who, according to some very enthusiastic commenters, was spotted at the event and even posted old videos admitting she was with Austen around that time. Like, sis basically filmed her own confession like it was the deleted scene from The Bachelor's influencer edition. Monica's old clips are a trip. She literally started off, so I got a DM from him on Instagram, and you already know where it's going. The DM leads to a clothing collab, which leads to texting, which led to a solo hotel trip to LA.
Everyone thinks I'm capping. I'm gonna provide you with a little more. They wanted the Uber receipt. Here's the Uber receipt. There's my hotel. There's the house in Malibu. If you know California, you know that's Malibu. Why did I scribble the name out? I don't know. Honestly, I thought it was illegal. I also could just change anybody in my phone to his name, so. But here's a little proof that he is in my contacts. Here is proof that it's his actual Instagram. Here's our message. There you go. Here's this video again, proving that it's his actual Snapchat in case you forgot. And in no way am I trying to play some innocent victim role, but there was a lot of manipulation involved to get to where it went to. Because in reality, you shouldn't be DMing girls in the first place about business when in reality it's for something else. Cut me some slack. All right, part 3. So we pull up to a house and I'm like, have I really been this naive to not know that this was what it was the entire time? Anyways, at this point I'm still kind of oblivious and I'm just like, okay, maybe we're just talking business, because in the car we had just talked about like other brand deals he might get me and all these other things, and I'm just excited, So we get inside, he just kind of keeps asking me about me, like just like seemed like he was just like trying to get to know me, and I was just like doing the same. So I knew it was like not completely business when he turned on Netflix and we were just watching Netflix on the couch, like just talking and stuff, and I'm just like, what the and then he like grabs a blanket and just like has a blanket on himself. At this point we're like not close together at all, and he like tells me like come over and like lay with him, and I'm just like, hey look, like I'm not trying to do business, that's what I thought this was.
Girl, that's not a collaboration, that's a cautionary tale. Also, the fact that she said, I didn't know what the plans were and he was being vigilant, should have been the first red flag. If the only thing your collab partner is clear about is what hotel you in, run. This isn't a brand deal, it's a setup. And the brand is called Homewrecker. But what gets me the most is the internet's reaction. People are in the comments like, you had 3 seconds to explain, Miss Ma'am. And honestly fair, because if you're a side chick at a charity event, that's the next level of shame, like environmentally sustainable audacity. Now, let's not forget the bigger picture here. Catherine chose to stay silent for years while Austin was out here selling boxing tickets and losing fights both in and out the ring. She was playing the long game. And now when the influencer world is crumbling and parasocial relationships are falling apart faster than a TikTok couples podcast, she drops a book. A 2-part book. It's giving chess, not checkers. What's especially interesting is that she refers to Austin as a husband in these chapters, and the internet is hella confused because there were never any clear divorce papers. For years, people thought maybe they were never really married. But if Catherine's out here using that word husband, then either they were legally hatched or she's just doing it for the dramatic effect, which, to be fair, I fully respect. At the end of the day, this book might be the most real thing to come out of this family saga. It's not just about Austin cheating or the YouTube fantasy they created. It's about a woman finding herself after being gaslit by both the husband and the internet. It's about Dolores stepping out of Catherine's shadow. It's about saying, you know what, I'm not just a girl from the thumbnails, I'm the author of the story. And in saying that, I don't know if this was the correct route for her to go, because they do have 3 children together and their relationship was pretty public. And they still have, like I said, children that are going to be affected by all this drama. Like, yeah, they telling us like to be the dictators and the jury over here, but in the end of the day, people don't really care about their personal matters or about them. They only care that this is tea, in all honesty. Like, good for her, and she's happy with this whole exposing thing, but how does it affect her children? Because they're the only ones that are going to live with this for the rest of their life, and the whole internet knowing their family's business.
Catherine wrote on her Instagram, making a post, "Happy Mother's Day. Today I'm taking a leap of bravery and sharing something deeply personal with all of you. Writing this book was the most vulnerable thing I've ever done, but also one of the most rewarding. It took courage to pour my story onto these pages, but I did it because I believe in the power of honesty, connection, and resilience. I hope this book inspires you as much as writing it has transformed me. I can't wait for you to read it and experience this journey with me. I'm thrilled to announce that my book is now available for pre-order, link in bio." So as I mentioned, Catherine's book excerpts are making rounds all over social media, and let's just say she isn't holding back. Let's get into it, because trust me, you're gonna want to stick around for the plot twist nobody saw coming. The whole situation is so heartbreaking. For all the years that we were on YouTube, Austin was the machine behind everything. The funny prank ideas, the editing, the sleepless nights at the computer, piecing together the version of us the world would see. We never hired an editor. It was all him. And me, I was the content overseer, the one who shaped it before, during, and after production. Long before I'd even met Austin, I'd been interested in film production and for years had studied on my own how movies and for-camera content were made. I'd learned how stories were told and how to find the heart of an interesting narrative. I had more ideas than I knew what to do with. I created, I refined our vision for the content, I managed logistics, approved videos, kept things running smoothly. I was also raising our children, breastfeeding, managing a household, all full-time jobs in themselves, while also staying perfectly camera ready, hair, makeup, nails, fitness, skin, through it all. Together, Austin and I were a dynamic duo, the secret sauce that made our YouTube channel so popular, the perfect blend that made it all happen. And yet, strangely, the more I watched my husband work, the more I dismissed my own contributions. As a woman with traditional family values, I put Austin on a pedestal. I made sure he knew he was seen and that his efforts were appreciated, but I didn't know if he saw me. I had been feeling invisible for a while, a contradiction that wasn't lost on me given that millions of people watched my every move online. At the first huge sold-out event we'd organized for Thirst Project, I had been pregnant. Staying out of the spotlight made sense, but at the second fundraiser for The Painted Turtle, I wasn't pregnant. I felt good, strong, ready. I'd poured myself into this event too. I wanted to be part of it. We were both dressed in red, looking our best. The roar of the fans inside the massive arena echoed through the walls, a pulse you could feel down to your feet. They were there to see the basketball players, sure, but more than that, they were there for us, for the Ace family. We meant something to them, a symbol of love, of family, of everything good and uplifting. I was excited to walk out with Austin to greet our extended Ace family together. I felt the love radiating from the crowd and I wanted to return it, to stand beside my husband and share the moment. And then came the locker room, a space of waiting, of anticipation, a moment that should have been small but wasn't. I turned to Austin and quote, "Do you want me to walk out with you?" A simple question, but beneath it, something deeper, a need to be chosen, to be wanted there, beside him as his wife, to be part of it in a way that wasn't just background support, wasn't just behind the scenes, to be the Ace family in more than just appearance. He shrugged and looked away. "Only if you want to." Flat, casual, not yes, not "I want you there," just a half-hearted comment, as if it didn't matter either way. But it did matter. It mattered to me. I thought, okay, if that's what he wants, I'm going to let him have his moment. I stayed back. I let him step out into the arena alone. The roar of 20,000 people filled the air, an explosion of sound so loud it vibrated in my ribs. I watched from the shadows how the light caught his face, his proud smile, and the effortless way he held the fans' attention as he waved up at them. I wanted to be there standing beside him, pretty much emphasizing his ego here and how he's letting the fame get to him. The moment was his, but it should have been ours. We were the Ace family. We'd built this together, a symbol of love to millions, but it wasn't just that. I wanted the dream for myself too. I wanted to be my husband's one and only, the person he saw first and last, not secondary or somewhere even further down the list to the fame. After he walked out alone, I told myself that it was the right thing and that I was being generous, that I was letting him shine, that he deserved the solo moment. But beneath all of that, another feeling clawed at my chest, a dull ache, a sadness I couldn't name. I wasn't out there with him because he hadn't wanted me out there with him, and that was the thing that lodged itself inside me, the thing I couldn't ignore. I told myself he'd carried most of the burden of our success and so deserved most of the credit, but the truth was I had been carrying it too, right alongside him. Not just the making of our success, of which I was an essential component, but the pressure, the work, the relentlessness of it all. And lately, I was also carrying something else, the realization that I was making myself smaller. For some reason, I was letting him take the spotlight and not standing in my own power as an equal partner of the Ace family. I believe that was what love was, standing in the background, supporting and not asking for space beside my husband. But love wasn't supposed to be like that. It didn't feel right. Austin should have wanted me right there next to him from the moment the event started, and I should have wanted myself there too. When the event was over, I walked out into the arena and finally joined my husband as people swarmed around us. Basketball players, photographers, videographers, security, influencers, and random individuals from the crowd. Austin's dad took the microphone to announce that the event had raised $100,000 to donate to the Painted Turtle, the nonprofit where he worked. Then Austin said a few last words to the audience as I stood next to him. After he was finished, he passed the mic to me dismissively and quote, "Babe, you want to say something?" He was already turning away. As I spoke to the packed arena, he walked off, hovering only in the periphery until I was finished. After I thanked our Ace family supporters, telling them how much they meant to us, Austin returned to my side to say a few last words to the crowd. Then our channel's theme song by Glenn Travis came on, a powerful song that helped us grow to unimaginable heights on YouTube. As Feel My Love played, I looked up at the Ace family supporters with their voices rising in unison, singing along, eyes locked on us with a kind of yearning, a hopefulness that made my chest tighten. They weren't just watching, they were projecting, seeing their own dreams reflected in us, in what they believed we stood for. Familial love, loyalty, a forever bond between two people with their children as an extension of that love. If Austin had felt that, if he'd understood what the audience wanted, he would have wrapped his arms around me, kissed me, given them a moment, even if only for show. A gesture to say, "We are still who you think we are." But instead, he waved to the fans as he turned away from me, more intoxicated by the roar of strangers than the quiet, authentic love standing beside him. I watched him as his eyes kept looking everywhere but at me, and I knew he had drifted too far from the essence of why we resonated with people in the first place, too far from what had once been genuine between us. Yes, so much of YouTube had been for clicks, for views, for spectacle, but the love we built our family on, that had been real. And that's what they wanted, what they had always wanted. Not Austin waving to them alone, not him standing apart like another famous influencer, but us. That's what I wanted too. My heart felt heavy as I watched my husband, but I did what I did best. I masked it. When the song finished, he made the rounds, smoozing with people who fed his ego until it was time to go home. I didn't say anything to him that night. I should have. I should have grabbed his hand in the locker room and asked, "Why don't you want me beside you?" But I didn't. Instead, I filed it away, buried the pain. In that moment, though, I felt a subtle shift, the beginning of the end. And just a few months later, everything came crashing down for real. I found out Austin had been cheating on me. Not a suspicion, not a rumor, proof. I realized then why he hadn't wanted to walk beside me, why it had been so easy for him not to. He'd already broken his vows. He'd already been gone from me longer than I had known. A close family member of his admitted to me that he'd invited a girl to that very Staples Center event the same night I'd convinced myself I was being selfless for letting him have his moment. I'd seen her there, pretty, a hanker on, staying just close enough to feel out of place, yet comfortable enough to belong. I had noticed her in the way you catch something that doesn't quite fit a puzzle piece jammed into the wrong spot. I'd even wondered who invited her. Now I knew. It all made sense. The way he hadn't wanted me next to him, the shrug, the indifference, the way he treated me that night as if I were a thorn in his side. The distance that had been stretching between us widened like a crack in a foundation too stubborn to crumble all at once. In an instant, it all connected. That realization wasn't an explosion. It wasn't rage or shouting or throwing things. It was slower, heavier, a knife to the gut that didn't cut fast but pressed in deeper and deeper until I could feel it in my bones, or rather my heart. It wasn't just a betrayal. It was the realization that I had been living inside a lie. That our life, the one we had built with camera angles and clickbait and perfectly timed edits, was hollowing out beneath me, an illusion created for millions to see but never for me to truly live. The relationship, the love that had once been true, had evaporated before my eyes, dissipating into the air like a vapor, leaving nothing behind but the ache of knowing it had been slipping away long before I ever saw it. All the things I had ignored, brushed aside, rationalized, they hadn't been paranoia, they had been real. After that, I turned inward. Inside, I questioned everything about Austin, everything that had come before, every late night editing session, every last minute excuse, every glance at his phone that ended with the screen tilted just out of my view. I discovered there were others, so many girls, so many betrayals. I had never felt more alone, not just in my relationship, but in my life. I couldn't call my mom, I was too ashamed, too humiliated to say the words out loud. He cheated on me. Saying it would make it real would turn it into something I couldn't shove down or reshape into something easier to swallow. I couldn't tell my dad or my brother. My brother had just started his own YouTube channel, and I didn't want to pull him into this mess, didn't want him looking at Austin differently, even though I would never see my husband the same way again. I was also newly pregnant with our third child, so I carried it alone. The weight of it, the ache of it, the thirst for something I didn't have, it all lived inside me. It sat on my chest, heavy and unmoving, making it hard to breathe, hard to sleep, hard to think about anything else.
But anyway, the book drops July 1st, and that's not just the release date, that's Judgment Day. Until then, let me know in the comments your thought on this whole thing and who do you believe. And if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like it and subscribe for more videos like this. Check out some of my other videos. I make pretty dope commentary videos. I don't know whether I want to start doing face videos or do you all prefer these ones. I personally watch these type of videos. That's why these are the ones that I do. But if you want me to switch it up, let me know in the comments. And if you have any topic ideas, also let me know. Until the next, and if you do not want to wait, check out some of these over here. Peace.